Not for a minute was forsaken. In this place, the Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, try to awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this unless you come, you need me. That's all I want. That's all you are. Will you meet me again?
We're at Home Depot, Joe.
Hey, John, how do you like this?
No. We're looking at stuff for the tiny home. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So we're at Home Depot looking at all stuff. Well, let's
Still driving.
it's over there. Go back here.
I give you glory for all you brought me through.
Am I in here talking with the guys? That's your coach?
Just me and Joseph.
That's your coach?
Yeah, just up, man.
Tonight. For tonight. You're doing the teaching tonight? Coaching?
No, I'm not.
Oh. I thought Ron was on vacation.
Yeah, tonight was Steve. Steve's gonna teach.
Oh, Steve? No. Let's go look at these people. No. I'll show you in a minute. Come on. So your new place looks nice, man.
Yeah, man, I like it. We're finally adapting.
How's it going? Yo, your beard is
What's
long.
up? Pretty good.
Yeah.
The beard is very long. Very long indeed.
Trying to go pick out stuff for the
Very long.
Over here, over here.
What are you guys looking at?
We're looking at countertops, backsplash, cabinets, refrigerator, washer dryer. Not this one.
Nice.
We're trying to decide what backsplash goes good with. See, this is more like. Right. I don't know.
I like the
That's
checker
that
one.
The checker one, right? You don't like it?
Yeah, I like the checker one. The other one is just weird looking.
I can't bring that one down. The one we're looking at is up here.
It's a cream.
Number
color.
B.
Okay. That one looks nice too.
That's countertop.
I like the one next to it too, the gray plain one.
C?
Not A.
A. No. There's only C on each side.
Oh yeah, I guess C on the left.
That one?
Yeah.
Nah.
I like
So
them.
you like you,
Well, ask mom. I can't go outside. Well, go ask mom. I didn't say yes. I said go ask mom.
So
She ran in there straight up and said, "Dad said yes."
They tried that. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I got witnesses. I swear I said go ask mom. Hey, Cindy.
Hey, Joseph.
Did Ron just take a sneak peek?
I don't know. I bet it better not be him. I must, hopefully that's Steve.
You got one cheat day, Ron. If that's you, no, it's supposed to be Wednesday.
What was that? I missed you.
I told Ron, if that's Ron, you got one cheat day, and it was supposed to be Wednesday.
That's right. Wednesday. That's it. This better not be Ron. Hey,
I haven't
everybody.
been on Zoom on a Monday on my computer in probably like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to seeing like one person. And I'm on my computer today, so I see everyone, and I'm like, oh, there's faces I haven't seen in like months.
There. That's Ron. That's the right Ron.
Is it me or is everybody frozen?
No, I'm seeing everybody moving. It must be you.
I didn't see Pappy move. was hoping my internet would work today to be on my computer. But at least everybody's frozen on a smile.
Apparently, I don't know how to take Ron Wheelock's name off of my name, so I'll just be Ron.
There you go.
What
Ron
up?
version.
Hey, you got bald on your vacation? Was it that stressful?
Apparently, I've had a rough time over the last weekend.
He pulled out his hair out.
What's up, Lawrence? All right. Okay, so it took me a little bit longer to get my Zoom up and running. So usually that's my restroom time. So I'm gonna hit record now, or if we're already, it looks like we're already recording. Beautiful. So we're 3 minutes in, so we are now 3 minutes late. So that, and I will take full responsibility for that. That would be me. There are some announcements and such to come up with first. Cindy and Joseph, I believe. They can give me a nod. I'd be so happy. Cool. All right, great. And I was like, that's what I'm aware of. So hopefully I'm not off. I'm going to run to the restroom and I shall be right back. I'll give you all over control.
Okay.
Switch over my phone so it's not all glitchy.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I was hoping that you would do that. Joseph, you want to take it? You want to take it first? Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all. Hello. All you beautiful people. Hello. Hello. Okay, so why Steve is taking a restroom break. Joseph and I just have a couple little announcements. Joseph, you want to take it away?
Yeah, the first announcement, I just wanted to remind everybody Ron's at vacation.
Right.
So if you need anything, reach out to Cindy or myself. Was gladly help you, assist you any way that we can. Just continue to lift up Ron so he can be replenished from the well of living water, and does not come back stressed out, but comes back rested. On top of that, I just wanted to let everybody know that Watchmen, which is on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and sorry, they flew my eye. 11 o'clock, what is that, Pacific? But we're opening that up to everybody. The Lord really impressed on my heart. If we really want all of our businesses to flow and to grow the way that the Lord wants them to, we really need to be implementing prayer more, and just spending that time together as a family, as a unit, as a community. I know that when I started CLCL Ministries, which is my church, the Lord said, if you want a ministry that flourishes, you need to have a ministry that prays. And so I wanted to just invite everybody this Thursday at that time to come. There's a Zoom link in the inner circle. If you can't seem to find it for any reason, just message me and I could get that to you. It is the same link for the rest of the year. So if you enjoy it and want to come back, it'll be the same link for the rest of the year. But I really want to invite you guys. It's really powerful. There's a lot of breakthrough that happens. Just come and feel the presence of the Lord. We're there roughly about an hour. And I wanted to invite everybody to come to that, to continue to grow. And then I believe Cindy also had some announcements, but that was my announcement.
Joseph, for those that don't know, before I just do my little piece here, do you just want to explain a little more, about, it's not about being called to be a watchman, but what's on your heart about that, if you want to expand that a little bit? Yeah,
so I know that the vision that Sadie had was to develop a watchman team, which to be a watchman is a little different than just to be someone that loves to pray, to be a prayer warrior. We're all called to pray. We're all called to pray consistently And I want to just, it's more open. It's going to be more open, just to have that prayer hour to come and soak in the presence of the Lord, lift up your concerns, come and pray for others, come and be prayed for, come and just have that time with the Lord, coming towards like the end of the week. We meet up at the first of the week, and it's just an opportunity to gather again at the end of the week for anybody that could make it. I know our schedules are, conflicting. People are busy at that time. So if you want to just pop in for 5 minutes, say hi and say, hey, can you pray for me? It's been a hectic week, hectic day. That's available. At the time is 1 p.m. Central. So that'd be 2 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock noon Mountain Time, and then 11 a.m. Pacific. In America. I don't know what that looks like around the world, but in America time zones, that's what that looks like.
Okay. Okay, so I'll take it. Just a very quick reminder announcement to everybody here. And is this: all of you are at a very pivotal point in this program, the majority of you, where you are coming into that you are now have hit the second part of your year. So congratulations to everybody for being here, being present. Let's applaud. Let's just all give ourselves an applause right now. So I want to recognize everybody in that. Okay. And the thing is this, along the way, it's very important to not disconnect. And here's what I mean. You're going to say, well, Cindy, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I'm here, right? You see me here. I'm right. No, this is what I'm saying. We're noticing that the summer and other things in life, Lorraine's already smiling there. She's already knows where I'm going, right, Lorraine? Yeah. So what's happened is people are not being consistent with their times. You have got to book your calls. It is really, really the foundation of what we're doing is to be here on Monday nights. Tonight, I know Steve's going to bring what he always brings, which is phenomenal. After that, you need to process those things. Get your one-on-one calls, and you are in the last week of July. I mean, it's like, what? Summer's almost over, but that's where we're at. So we really have been checking the log, and we're seeing that the call rate is down. That is not what you want to do. There's always something to discuss. There's always something. If you don't need the whole hour or hour and a half, that's okay. Check in, do whatever you have to need to do with your one-on-one coach, and go on your way. Also, tied to that is as you get to every juncture of this and you're going through every step, you need ministry to have those breakthroughs so that you don't let a boundary or a block come in your way. So you get 2 one-on-one calls a month. You get 1 ministry call a month. Don't skip them. Don't let your mind tell you, oh, I'm good. I don't need to do that. There's a reason for all of this. It's not just here or there. Oh, we think we'll do that. There's a reason for it. It's very intentional. So if you have it, don't wait for your one-on-one coach to have to reach out to you. Take the responsibility and do what you need to do to stay on track. We love you guys. We want to see you succeed. You're at a very pivotal part in the program. So do what you need to do. Get your calls in for the month of July and get your ministry call in. That's it. Steve, we are through. Over to you.
Awesome. So what's up? I'll say hi to everybody in a minute. I just want to say right now, just this, I mean, it says now. So that's how fast it came up. Verse of the day. And this is something that's really kind of cool, especially for those that are being challenged right now. It's in Hebrews 13:8. Some of you all might already know Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. And there's you're going to see that I read your message, Cindy, on Voxer, but I didn't listen yet. I read it. It just says your name. I'll listen to it in a minute.
Okay.
So one of the things as we're walking through this journey here, and one of the greatest things, and right now I'm coaching a small group of coaches myself, and I ask very little. One of the things I do ask is to be present. Because what we do here transforms people's lives. You wouldn't even come close to recognizing the guy that showed up prior to coaching. Wouldn't even know me. I don't even know who that guy is. I have no idea who that old Steve is. He's just some dude who used to exist and now he doesn't. So one of the greatest things is we're dealing with right now, we're dealing with a lot of change. And one constant we're looking for constant in our life. And what the most amazing thing, because you're a Christ-centered coach, there's only one thing that never changes, and that's Christ. That's God. So you get to bring uniformity to people's life. When everything's going, my nan used to say skew with. If you have a British background, you'll pick that up. Cattywampus was another one. And basically it was all in different directions. So one of the things that I'd like for, if you're on right now, one of the things that I ask is if you can open up your camera. And that's for everybody. And what it does is it shows that you're present with everybody. Now, I do know there's some mitigating circumstances. If you're not dressed, nothing personal. That's just, you stay where you are, we're cool. If you're eating, I don't care. In fact, I'm happy that you're feeding yourself. It's good. I do that on my calls too. If you're one of my clients, we've had dinner together. right, Linda? We just eat, man. And so I'm cool with that. In fact, I encourage people to do that because food gives us nourishment and nourishment allows us to be present. So
I have a thing with eating in front of people, so.
We wouldn't know. We won't know. Did you bring enough to share? No, I'm just kidding. So when we're sitting here and we're having these conversations here, one of the things that becomes very apparent, especially with us coaches, is we get really, tell me if anybody identifies with this journey, now that we're at the just past the 50% mark, is you get super excited. I got 12 months, man. I am going to be like the coach of coaches in a year. And then we get super excited. We all sign up. First few months, we're like, woo, we're like getting on a roller coaster ride. You're going, and then you get to the top in like February, March, April, like going through this thing. And then around July, you go, and then you're getting off the ride. And it's like, what do we do now? Well, you get back on the ride, or you find another ride, or you move to another part of the park. Because the one thing about coaching, and this has nothing to do with me, I just want to do time period. I've been doing this since 2014. So what is that? Seven, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, something like that. I am literally at the pinnacle of turning a corner right now. And this has been going on 8 years. We have all these different levels of coaching. And the stuff that we're going to go over tonight is so simplistic, and it can take your clients and spin them back on their heels, because there's very, very few questions that I use in coaching. And these are some of my favorite. In fact, if some of my one-on-ones were on here, I'd be like, oh, we're going to do that. Yep, we're going to do that, because it's fun. This is a fun conversation to have, because it really gets you to the core. And because we don't necessarily walk through the world with intention. We kind of hang out. We have goals and dreams and aspirations and things that we want to accomplish, but are we really being intentional? Are we really waking up with the intention? You know, last night I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was like, ooh, tomorrow's my favorite day in the gym is chest day. Like, I know I'm gonna be sore than sore by the time Monday night comes around, or Lawrence's Tuesday morning. And I know I'm gonna be whooped, and it's like my favorite day. So last night I'm like, oh man, what's my warm up? Oh yeah, that's the warm up. So I take myself through the workout, and it seems so simplistic, right? Like, why is he talking about lifting? This is my time to check out. In fact, I just got a text. I'm gonna respond to my text message real quick. Everything that I do and say on these calls is so intentional, just like you do with your clients. And the reason I talk like I do is because I'm resonating with somebody right now. So when we're walking through this thing and I go into the gym in the morning, what's my intention? Is my intention to get a good sweat, burn calories? Nope. It is to pull the fibers in my muscles. It is to feel every single press. It is to stand there and watch the clock as the time ticks down between rest, between sets. My intention is not to get big or muscular. My intention is to go in there and get the fullest I can in about 55 minutes. When I'm finished, my intention is that I can walk out and go, I gave my 100% of myself, whatever that looks like. I have no idea each and every single day. So when we're coming into our clients, we show up the exact same way. We come into with our clients, giving 100% of our effort, setting the intention before it comes in. At 6:55 p.m., my intention was set for this call. So when we're coming into it, set your intentions. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to go through the exercise, and then, because I'm going to give you plenty of time to think about this question. So what are you dealing with? What are you dealing with inside of your coaching practice? And your coaching practice started the very first day that you signed the contract, not the first day that you're the first module or the first thing that you read or whatever, or even the welcome emails. The moment you said yes, that was the day you became a coach. Not the day you get a piece of paper that says you are. You're a coach because you decided that was the day you made the decision. So now that you're in your coaching practice, start thinking about what are you dealing with? What's happening? What's the thing that you're facing the most or whatever? And start thinking about that as we continue moving forward. So does that make sense? Beautiful. Rusty, your post earlier was really funny. The one that somebody said that you were not something, I don't want to repeat it, but that cracked me up, man. I laughed so hard. I'm like, oh, look at that person. That's an amazing place to be, bro. All right, cool. So, hi, Cindy, Lorraine. What's up, Gregory? Hey, Terry, Samuel, Lawrence, Karen. What's up, Patrick, Joseph, Katina? Love it. Rusty again. What's up, Adrian, Jane, Linda, Elisa, Joey, and Joy. I hope you all are doing great today. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I really do. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And so I was sitting one day and I was like, the whole thing about what we do as coaches is, like I said before, it's setting the intention. And I'm like, well, how can I bring this out to my clients? And I was like, well, I wonder if they know what it means. Being intentional. So that's where we're going to start. So I'm not speaking tonight. We're going to conversation. We're going to have a conversation. So let me move all my junk out of the way here so I can see my notes. There we go. Perfect. So what is being intentional to you? What does that mean? And there's no wrong answer. It's notice I said, what is it in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary? It's what does intentional mean to you? Samuel, you unmuted yourself.
Deliberate. Deliberate.
Deliberate. Cool. I thought you said deliberate. I'm like, ooh, what are you delivering? I dig it. Being deliberate. Cool. Patrick.
Purposeful.
All right. You guys cool if I take notes? My memory is about as far as I can get my pen.
Thoughtful and mindful. Thoughtful and mindful.
Deliberate, mindful. Purposeful, you said, Patrick?
Yes.
Purposeful. Got it. Thank you. And mindful, who said that?
Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Cool. I like to see who's talking. What else we got? Rusty.
Laser focused.
Laser focused. Cool.
This might describe intention, but I'll say clear.
Clear. Who was incredible voice was that?
I said that. Clear. Samuel, clear.
Oh, there you are. Sorry, clear. All right,
Present.
cool. Present. Is that you, Karen?
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else? These are a lot more than I expected. Cool, right? So you get the picture. It's deliberate. If I miss somebody's, please tell me. Deliberate, purposeful, mindful, laser focused, clear, and present. just curious, when I said clear and present, how many had the word danger afterwards? Clear and present. Anybody else? Okay, good. I was like, man, is that just me? Isn't that funny how our mind remembers stuff? It's these fun little triggers, man. That is a perfect example on how we trigger our clients. You'll see it. When you speak something, it will mean nothing to you, but they'll go to see a little twist or anything. Ask them. Straight up ask them. Okay, so I just saw you shift a little bit. Lawrence, how many times do I say that on our calls?
Time.
It's because we can't stop it. Right? It's perfect. Aware of what's important in the moment. Cool. I like it. Oh, and Joyce jumped off. No. All right, cool. So this is where we get to have a little bit of fun. Now you get to take a look in your life, because once you have, and by the way, when you're talking about being intentional, it's the person's, sometimes they're like, well, what do you mean by being intentional? I don't elaborate on it. I just say, well, what do you think? What do you think I mean? Because one of the things that's happening right now in our society is we are removing our ability to be active thinkers. It's really easy to pick up this ridiculous thing and Google things than it is to actually think about something before we pick it up to Google it. So I have my people think, what do you mean by being intentional? I'm like, I don't know. What do you think it means? And they always ask, well, do you think does it mean this? I'm like, I don't know. What does it mean to you? And usually after a while, they're going to go, oh, being intentional. Okay. So doing it on purpose. I'm like, are you, and I'm nice. I'm like, are you asking me or are you telling me? Oh, well, I mean, I'm telling you. Cool. Are you confident behind that? Yes. Perfect. That's a great answer. I like it. And I remind them again, there's no wrong answer behind it because they need to see the intention. So then so once we have that down, so I'll use, I use all of these, man, deliberate, purposeful, mindful, laser focused, clear, and present. So where are you most intentional? So this will be with you guys. So you get to respond to this. Where are you most intentional?
My faith.
Who said that? Patrick. Faith.
Patrick.
Got it.
Yeah. That's why I'm where I am today with you people.
Outstanding. Ditto, man. Anybody young enough to not know what ditto is? Good. I don't have to give that. If my kids didn't know.
That would be really sad.
Well, my boys were like, that's the guy from Pokemon.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. Well, they're 11 and 13. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You don't know what a ditto is. All right. Who else is coming up? Don't let me digress. Come on.
Teachable.
Huh?
Teachable.
Well, where are you most intentional?
Yeah, but I try to be teachable.
Oh, in being teachable. I got you. Sorry about that. I misunderstood you. Being teachable. Where are you most teachable?
Things that I need to learn.
Is there anywhere that sticks out more than others?
Places of rebellion or that I don't think I can, maybe self-defeating beliefs or something like that. Depending on what you're learning at that time, it could be mindset. So you show up in that area. It's tech. While I show up earnest to and gain something from that period of time that we have together.
So being teachable in places of rebellion. That's what you had mentioned.
Yeah, I thought about that as well, because there's times when it's like maybe it comes with more of a mindset. That I can't do this, or it's just thinking, or and then like you make a choice not to be teachable.
What?
So I make a choice not to be teachable because So I try to be intentional, like, no, I'm gonna plow through this. Even if it's hard, even if it's a mindset that I've,
Oh, you're locked up on us. Give it another second. Is it me? It's not my computer, right? Okay, good. I see everybody else moving. Cool. We'll come back to Karen. She said, even if it's mindset, and then she stopped off. All right, great. I like that response. That was actually kind of a really cool response. And I was going to hang out in that moment for a minute. Because when people are responding to you, that right there was an incredible response. I want elaboration on that because there's something there that shows up more than not. Hey, Karen. So I'm going to come back. It's okay. Things happen, man. Maybe the evil one didn't like that message. All right. So as Karen's getting back on together, where else are you intentional?
I think I am intentional around like my routines or habits that I set up for myself. Like, you know, when I wake up in the morning, I like to spend time with the Lord, and then that can center my day. Then I take care of my dog, and then I, you know, I have a whole habit. Then I have to check in for work, and so I'll get focused on those habits, if you will. And sometimes during my prayer time, that could take a tangent on a different way. So, you know, fitting in a workout routine in the day or wherever I can plug it in for the day. So trying to have some habits that are, you know, some of it might be like, to Karen's point, just always growing and learning about something new. Yeah, so.
So in the very beginning of that, you said, I think in my habits and routines.
Yeah, I would say that confirming.
Cool.
Confirming. I just didn't know if that really fit in with the intentional focus that you were looking for.
I'm looking for whatever comes up.
Okay.
It's wherever you're most intentional.
That came up.
Beautiful. So here's one of the neat, thank you for that, Linda. Thank you for, and by the way, I push a little bit in my coaching. If you've ever been one-on-one with me, I do push a little bit. And I do that on purpose because we don't talk to each other like this. And one of the things that I want to be very incredibly clear on, I will never, ever, 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 ever. And I'm very clear on the word never. It's in actually lots of my videos to not use, but this is one of the places I'm going to use it. I'm not going to hurt your feelings on purpose. So if something comes across, if I speak something or I ask a question, or you think I'm digging, like he's digging too much, like you know the voice that pops up, right? That angry at Steve voice. If that pops up, I'd encourage you to look for the resistance and what is really creating it, because it's not my words. It's always the word, the significance that we give the words. That's what causes the frustration or the resistance or whatever shows up. So when I ask, or when we're having a conversation, I can usually see it, and you'll know that I know because I'll keep asking. And it's not because I don't want you to be frustrated with me. In fact, I want you to like me. It's one of my, I'm a people pleaser, for crying out loud. And one of my needs, one of my needs is for you to like me. However, I also know in the space that sometimes you might not. I had a really cool coach say to me one time, your clients don't need to like you, but they'll end up loving you. And I thought, wow, what a cool thing. That's something to strive for. So when I'm pushing a little bit, that's where I am. So there was something that was said twice so far. It's wherever I can plug it in or wherever I can fit something in. So if we take a look at that, that's not intention. It's whenever I can. It's like whatever. And there's nothing good or bad about it. But we're looking for places, right? So take another look. So now where else are you most intentional? The group.
Oh, it's a group.
Yes. You all can speak.
On my job.
Your
Or
job?
getting to work.
Cool, getting to work, got it. Adrian?
Learning.
sorry?
I think Katrina wanted to go next. She can go.
Oh, sorry. Learning.
Learning, cool,
Yes.
can dig it. Awesome.
Okay, I'm intentional about being emotionally present with my daughters and not being careful not to interpret behavior as being defiant when they're really distressed and they're just not able to express how they're feeling for some reason.
That's amazing. Sounds like you've been through Ron Gelock's Let's Drill It Down and Get Very Specific class. That was incredible. I liked everything you just said. That was awesome. It's not an easy thing to do sometimes. Yeah. Can identify with that. Cool. Thank you for that. Thank you, Tina and Adrian and Samuel. Yes, Patrick.
Ever since my whole character transformation through the Lord, I'm really intentional about everything. I have type 2 diabetes. Well, since May 23rd, when the Lord put it on my heart to commit to intermittent fasting, I've lost now, what am I at? 19 pounds as of this morning. And my blood glucose readings are down to consistently near 100. So I am kicking diabetes in the tail feathers because I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want to be ill. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's a good feeling because I've tried before and I failed because I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't following him. I wasn't actually even seeking him in those things. I was just trying in my own strength and my own will to be healthy and to reduce my glucose. And I'd have good days and a good week or two and maybe get down to 215 pounds, but whoop, right back up. And there went the glucose readings too. Many of you guys who deal with this also, the weight goes up, the glucose is sure to follow. So then A1C follows that. And so I need to get a blood test. I'm curious what my A1C is now. I'm hoping it's well into the low sixes. And we'll be making an assault on 5.5, which is what probably most of you guys are. A healthy A1C reading is 5.5, which is a 3-month average of your glucose readings. So I'm intentional about my faith, about my health. I'm an avid cyclist. I'm an avid walker. You couldn't keep up with me on my walks. I'm a pretty fast walker, a pretty fast bicyclist too, even though I'm 58. I rarely get past, but because I'm committed. I am going to get rid of this weight and I am going to get rid of this disease. And since I just had a breakthrough a couple of weeks ago in allowing my soul to prosper in the Lord, the changes, including being in this group now, this is one of the things. This is one of the things he's given me to allow me to prosper and to take my company where it needs to go, because it's his company. I've always said it's God's company. I'm just a steward. And so I've learned what it means to be a steward. I've been intentional about every single thing, leading with my faith. Who was it that said it? Linda, I think it was you that said it about first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, you spend time with the Lord. I don't even get out of bed without putting on God's armor. I'm laying there and I put on the armor. In these days, are you kidding me? We have to put on God's armor before we even get out of bed. We have to let the enemy know that we are awake. We are in God's army. And we are getting up and we are being intentional and we're going to kick his tail because we're here to serve. We're here to live for him. And I do that every morning. As soon as I wake up, and now I get this big old smirk on my face like I'm getting right now and saying, my soul prospers in the Lord. And you guys, that brings me such joy to say it. Brings me so much joy. And I've gotten even more intentional over the past 2 weeks. And I couldn't be more excited about where I'm going, where the Lord is taking me, quite frankly. It's not where I'm going, because where I was going, it isn't where we want to go. So just in surrendering my soul to him and my life to him, because he paid for it with a price. He bought me with a price. And you guys, I couldn't be more excited about where Next Level Character is going to go. and what he's going to do with it. And I can't wait to see where this takes me, where Christ-centered coaching takes me. And just in hearing, this is my first exposure. I'm sure you guys all realize that this is my first exposure to all of you and to the the Christ-centered coaching speak that I'm hearing already. It's like, whoa, this is serious. This is real. This isn't make-believe. This isn't the toy department. This is the real deal. And I'm thrilled to hear it. I'm thrilled to see it, because that's how I've gotten to where I am today, is by being sincere to the Lord and letting him lead me and pull me through all my struggles so that I can get to where I am today, so that I can lead every student athlete he gives me to having a character of excellence and going on from there. So I'm thrilled to death to be here. And if I can help any of you in any way, I'm here to help. You'll learn more about some of my skills and what I can do, but I can help you all in one way or another, I'm sure.
Cool.
Just real quickly, I build assessments and tests and surveys.
Awesome.
I'm a psychometrician, so that's what my profession is called.
Awesome. Very cool. Cool. So watch this. Patrick, how many just got fired up?
Awesome.
Here's
Raise
what's
the
cool,
roof.
man. Speaking with conviction is what I
Yeah.
heard. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna add to your intentions conversation.
Yeah.
Intentional.
You know what, too? You just said another word yourself, Steve. Conviction. I don't think anybody said that before, did they?
Oh yeah. Put that up.
I don't remember hearing it. Conviction. Absolutely, positively. If you're not convicted, you can't be intentional.
Yeah, man.
And see, I've been convicted about my company for the longest time, but my character wasn't there yet. And so I committed to surrendering my character to him so that it would shape me to be the leader I need to be for my business. Because who's going to follow a person with bad character leading a company called Next Level Character? Nobody. So I had to surrender my character to him in order to be able to get where I am today. And that's here with you guys, which this time last week, I thought it was going to be with another believing led business, but not one that was Holy Spirit led. When Ron said that to me last Thursday afternoon, I'm like, that is the best closing argument I've ever heard in a sales presentation. Nobody can top that. How could you? So yeah, just phenomenal. I'm thrilled to be here, you guys. I can't wait to see what the Lord's going to do with this. It's going to blow my doors off. I know it is. He's been doing that for 2 weeks already. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen here.
Cool, man.
I can't get rid of this.
Cool. Well, hang on to it.
It ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Awesome. Hey, I'm going to jump into the group real quick, Patrick. Cool.
Yeah. What's that?
So I'm going to jump back into the group for a moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Right on, man. Hey, thank you for that, by the way. That was really awesome. We're going to come back to that conversation, I'm sure. So I'm looking for others that are in the place of where you're most intentional.
Hey, Steve.
Lorraine, what's up?
Awesome. I've become very intentional with learning more about Christ and my confidence. I went through some trouble a couple of weeks ago, got help, deliverance from Joseph, and I felt the Holy Spirit telling me that I'm holding back from moving on in my business because not my confidence in him, but my confidence in me to teach about him, if I'm making any sense. And so he's got me reading that emotionally. Ron told us about the book, Emotionally Spiritual, and he's got me reading that. He's got me doing a deeper Bible study, and it's really been helping. And I'm very intentional about that, about my faith. I think out of everything, that is it. That is, for me, that's everything.
Awesome. I love it. Love it. Hey, I'm kind of fired up right now. Let's get a picture real quick. Hold on. Oop. There we go. Hey, Joy. Oh, you just live your name. Oh, no, you got to come back now. I'm taking a picture. I'm not ready yet. Okay, I do a 3, 2, 1 cheese. So you guys know. All right, 3, 2, 1 cheese.
Cheese.
All right, cool. See, you can't help it. You have to say cheese. I'm almost 50 years old and I still say cheese, for crying out loud. Okay, so let's take 742. Just take one more. Where are you intentional? Let me get to go in another direction. You'll dig this. Joseph, Pastor Joseph.
Yeah, I've been really intentional about just allowing myself to have more grace.
Ooh, man, you and me both. I like it. More grace. Isn't it interesting?
Joseph,
God doesn't
is
beat
that-
us up as much as God doesn't beat us up as much as we beat up ourselves. And so just having those real moments with him and just like, man, I feel like I missed the mark today. I feel like I missed the mark on that one. And he's like, man, you know you didn't, right? You know we were there together. And you know, you could have probably just acknowledged me here, whatever the case may be, but just allowing myself that grace, being intentional and
Right on, man.
listening to the Father for sure.
Steve, I wanted you to see Joyce that she just put into the
Oh,
yeah, into the chat. Like, I was going to go there myself. That's a big one for me too.
just connected to mine. Oh, wait,
Self-
oh, got it.
Self-care. Yeah,
Self-care. Good for you, Joy. Awesome. I'm going to stop this exercise for a moment and talk about self-care. And because it lines up with Joseph, what he just said. Self-care is the devil is going to keep you busy. He's going to need you to have a full schedule. He's going to want you to not feel like you're enough, so you need to do more stuff.
Yeah.
He's going to make you not feel as though you are impacting people. He's going to have you question whether or not you're a good enough coach or a good enough person. Let's just start there. And with self-care, thank you, Joy. And thank you, Joseph, for bringing up grace. Is one of the most incredible things. In fact, it's funny. 2 months ago, my coach brought it to my attention. He said, when's the last time you gave yourself grace? And judging by my emotional response, it was very easy to see it's been a bit. Because we are harsh on ourselves. And when I say we, it's not us. The devil goes, I remember when you didn't? Oh, you should have done this. Oh, you had your moment. And then we question. And the moment we question is the moment we start hammering ourselves down. And self-care, my self-care is quiet. You know, in the mornings, the boys and I do a minimum 10 minutes because we're running in and out of the house for camp and all that kind of fun stuff. We do 10 minutes of God journaling where we bring something to his feet. It could be anything. It's whatever conversation you want to start. And if you're lost on it, I don't know, what do you want me to do today? That's kind of the conversation sometimes. I'm like, I don't even know where to start today. What do you want me to do? Like, where do you want me to show up for? I mean, what's my purpose today? Not my life's purpose. Good Lord, that's a big question. What about my daily purpose? So it's just different things like that. That whole, and then allowing yourself grace for what you think you did or didn't do. Because the funny thing is, you were given grace years ago. Just we need to start accepting it a little bit more. Ah. Linda, you're so awesome. Mondays I'm going to see you. I'm going to give you such a hug. It's going to be ridiculous. So self-care is it's incredible. And grace is powerful. And I'll give you one last piece here. Just, I'm sorry for the side note, but when God speaks, man, I can't I'm going to tell him to be quiet. I'm sorry, I'm doing stuff. When we're sitting here and we're hanging out and we have a thought, because we're coaches and we know what we know, sometimes we're rough on ourselves when we're getting ourselves in a mood. We're in a breakdown, had a rough day, whatever negative thought we have, we're frustrated because we're not further, and then we beat ourselves up. Like Joseph was talking about, we kind of get little harsh on ourselves. It's month 6. Oh my gosh, month 7. Oh my gosh. It's going to be August next week. I've been in this for this many months. What's wrong with me? Look at all the other people that are doing this. And stop. And allow grace for a second. And just go, I am where I am. This is exactly where God wants me to be. I'm not sure why. It's not my understanding to need to know why. This is where he wants me to be right now. And you can have your own opinions on what I'm talking about. This is a conversation I have to have with myself. I believe that we're always in the right place at the right time according to what he wants. It's whether or not are we paying attention to the signs and the opportunities that he's putting in front of us. That's all. And if we're in the storm, so to speak, when Peter was on the boat, you know that storm never stopped. It was something that never clicked for me. The storm just never stopped. Christ was walking across, the storm was still going. Peter gets out of the boat, storm's still going. He sinks, storm's still going. Gets back up, storm's still going. They get back in the boat, the storm's still going. The only thing that changed is the focus on where he put his focus. Was it on the storm or was it on Christ? Allow yourself some grace. Sometimes we focus on the storm. It happens. Peter did it with Jesus in front of him, like literally right here. And he lost focus. And grace saved him from drowning. Darn right, Katina. I'm way too fired up. I'm so off track. Let's get back on track. You guys did this. I'm just kidding. It's my fault. So this is beautiful. I love this. I'm sweating a little bit. This is great. Okay, so back to being intentional. So does everybody have somewhere in their life, I mean, you don't have to raise your hand, or I'm sorry, you don't have to come out, but does everybody have a place where you're intentional? Great. Where are you not? Where are you not intentional? Everybody has one. I have lots. Everybody has one. So where are you not intentional?
Steve?
Yes.
I'm not intentional. When people hit the negative about something I've done, I bathe in it for a while instead of pushing it away.
Can you
well, I did my shock and awe video, and a friend of mine, I sent it to her, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. And I said, but what about the content? Oh, that was great, but all of this was wrong. So I found myself sitting in it for a little while and sort of wallowing until I gave myself a kick in the behind. But I find I do that, the kick comes a lot later than it should. So
sure,
I'm intentional about staying in where I shouldn't be.
Perfect. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Around sending your video out to your friend?
Yeah.
What was the intention behind it?
Her and I were sort of in the same position, and I thought she'd be interested and possibly knew other women. So yeah. Cool.
Sometimes with our amazingly awesome, well-intended friends, is that nice to say? That was nice, right? Unless we tell them exactly why we're doing things, they look for critique for a couple of reasons. One, they need to know how smart they are. That comes from a place of insecurity, and that's okay. We all do it. It's fine. Number two is, instead of them going down all these different rabbit holes, you could just say, hey, how do you like my content in this thing? I'm getting ready to send you a video over.
I did.
Sweet. And she just went on her
roll about everything that was wrong. And because all I wanted to know was the content.
Yeah.
I knew
Cool.
I screwed up, but that's all I wanted to know. And she went down her rabbit hole. So I've since gotten over it, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Can I hang with you for this for a second? Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Cool. So when you said, I bathe in it, you bathe in the comments. I think that's what an incredible visual that is. And when we think about that, when that happened, because emotions come up, right?
Mhm.
Do you remember what they were? It was a thought or
Anger.
something.
I was a little annoyed, and disappointed, and then the, oh, woe is me, I screwed up again.
So the I screwed up again. Does that feel familiar?
Oh yeah,
What does it remind you
past.
of?
Pardon me.
You
Of?
said the past. No, I said of.
When I first got in here and was afraid to do this and afraid to do that, and I had all these fears, and knowing I'm, as you said, I don't know who she is, she's gone. So that kind of brought it up, and so that's the past. I mean,
Oh, the past you.
yeah,
It reminded you of the past you.
yeah,
The one that I met at the beginning of the year.
exactly.
I only
The one
remember.
that I want to stay gone.
Once you transform, Lorraine, and you learn something, it's almost impossible to unlearn it.
I agree.
Okay.
It still brings up the thoughts
Of course.
of that.
You want something cool? I'll give you 3 questions. You guys cool? You guys okay with this? Awesome. So the 3 really powerful, simplistic questions. And I use these all the time. So we get to be in the same boat together. When something pops up, and I'm totally going to use this bathing in it thing. My clients are going to hear it from me. So when you're bathing in it, it's a feeling that's happening, right? I see it as it's being all over us,
Yeah.
right? So when that comes up, the very first question is, what's happening right now? Right? So in that moment, there's a feeling that's happening. Could be anxiety, could be the sweats, could be, I don't know, some people get sweaty hands. I just break out into sweat. So it's whatever's happening with you, right? So what's happening right now? Once you get that, and there is not a story on it. It's only the description of what's happening. So I'm sweating, my heart is beating. It's not, I'm having anxiety, because that's a story part of it. It's a description. I'm sweating, my heart is beating fast, and I'm slightly lightheaded right now. So those 3 things, right? Go, okay, cool. Where did it come from? So the very first thought is, all right, so this feels familiar.
Mhm.
So where did it come from? And you trace it back to
My
beginning of
past.
this year, right?
Yeah.
The past. And you
So-
can pinpoint it.
Oh yeah.
Because I knew it. So what's neat is this: you sit here and you go, this is what's happening, and you hang out with it for a minute and be like, all right, so this is familiar. So where is this? Because I don't remember, there's a quantum physicist, his name's Joe Dispenza, and there's also a Christian quantum physicist, Dr. Caroline Leaf. If you're not familiar with her, Google her. And they talk about, it's mid to late 20s, early 30s, we stop having these new emotions and we start replaying them over and over again. So you get to take a look back at, well, what is this familiar of? It's like, well, it's familiar from what, and we'll just say January of 2021, right? Oh yeah, January 2021, this was this, and this. Great. So because you had an emotion, you had a thought that created an emotion, and it triggered a memory that we didn't catch. All we have is the feeling that came with the memory that jumped up on us from back here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
since it's here and we brought it forward, first question is, what's happening? Second question is, where did it come from? The third question is it real?
No,
Nope.
no.
It's that fast because our subconscious mind picks it up. It's our automatic replay of memory. So thought, memory, emotion, boom, I'm here, I'm living it. Oh no, I feel like crap, I'm freaking out. Oh wait, hold on a second. This is from then. It's not even real. So what you do is you logically, it's logically, emotions are not logical, period. They don't make any sense. They just show up.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about it is if you logically tell yourself, I shouldn't feel this way, it's going to go, that's an amazing statement. It's not doing anything. All I know is there's something wrong. So I need to fix it. Well, there's nothing to fix because there's nothing broken because it's not even a real thing. It's simply an emotion that came up, and that's okay. That's where the grace comes in. So if you can backpedal it and say, is it real? And the moment and your mind's going to tell you, you don't have to consciously think about it. No's going to pop up immediately, just like it did with you. And as soon as you do that, you shut off that cycle.
Okay.
And then you can move. Cool.
Yep. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you. I
We
will
skipped
do
the
that.
whole 2-hour session going right to the questions. That was that usually comes after a session that I do with people, but that was awesome. Way to go. Thank you for that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So you were number one. So who else is not, where else is somebody not intentional? Thank you for that, Lorraine. You're always fun.
I can get distracted with like, especially because this business, it forces me in social media more than what I used to be. So sometimes I can get sidetracked with my time and I can get really unintentional and realize I just wasted a lot of time that I can't get back. So that's a real tripping hazard for me. So I need to create some boundaries for myself and when I'm allowed to go in. Because it's one of those things, you know, your phone's always in your hand, but yeah, I have to really work on being more intentional with how I can go down rabbit holes with that.
Cool. So would you say that it's where you're not intentional is with your time on social media?
Yep.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Linda. When a man's mind is stretched to a new dimension, it will never reach. Oh, yeah, man. It's when you have an insight, it's like, it's just there. You transformed. It's really amazing. All right. Where else are you guys not intentional? Think about these important places. Think about it. Really put some thought into this. This is really important, especially for my next question.
I was thinking about
Yes, Katina.
one of my areas is not being intentional. So, you know, like you said in the beginning, you have that, you're doing it, you're consistent, you got it on your calendar, you're blocking out time, you're laser focused, you're intentional on what you're doing for your business. And then you kind of hit it when you feel like it, you know, give it a little bit of time here and there. So for me, it's being intentional because I will, at first I was going to say being consistent. But I was thinking for me, if I'm intentional, I'll be consistent. And I think because sometimes when people say you're not consistent in things, it makes you think negative. But I was to think the intention of it gives you a better look at it. And I think saying that it can help not just myself, but other people look at it in a different way.
Oh, where'd you go? There you are. So Adrienne is agreeing with you. Would you say it's setting the intention?
Yes. Setting the intention, but sticking with it, like it's on the calendar.
Yeah.
But being intentional in doing. Don't allow anything else because this is the intended, you know, it's like, you know, church start at 12 o'clock. My dad would say, you better not be late. So that meant he left us and we had to walk to church.
Yeah.
But we figured out a way to be there by 12 o'clock. Whether it was running, you take your shoes off and run, you put your sneakers on and have your shoes in your hand. You got to church on time. So I'm just using that as an example because now that we all talk about it, we all laugh. But, you know, he was very intentional on our time that was set aside for God. You're supposed to be at Sunday school. It's going to teach you God's word. He was very intentional on our growth with God and the set times that was set for it. Nothing else could happen during those times. So I want to be like that in my business. Yeah. Unless it's an emergency, it has to wait.
I'm hoping that I'm close on this when I state this. And if I'm not, you can tell me to pound sand, I'm good. Would you say that it's around your integrity, keeping your word?
No, when it comes to other people.
With you, with yourself.
But with myself, yes.
There we go.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. So you're intentional with you'd like to, you're not as intentional with your personal integrity as you'd like.
Yes. Yes.
Got it.
Because I flow it on to everyone else in their whatevers.
Yep. All kinds of stuff come up, right?
Yes.
Yep. Call those excuses.
Right. But sometimes it's other people's problems that I have allowed to become my own. So I'm a work in progress and continuously laying that before the Father and just getting that broken off of me.
There's an interesting thing. I'm going to hang out with you for a minute on this, if it's okay.
Yes.
There's an interesting thing around integrity, and it's it's how I live and die now. And because I was so far out of integrity with everybody, I didn't even know. And if you would have asked me a few years back, I couldn't even tell you what integrity meant. I thought it was because I was in concrete masonry. It's whether the building falls or not. Well, now I put that as my foundation of my body. That's where Christ hangs out. My integrity is him. And so what's interesting about integrity is it's very, there's a thing called the upper limit. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again because this is so specific, Katina. This is going to be fun. Is that when we're moving along, when we're moving along creating something that we've never done before, whether it could be new Christians. I mean, that's the very fact that this shows up a lot there. I'm going to have to bring this into my Bible study. Thank you for that. So when we're moving along, whether it's on a coaching journey, a relationship, a new job, new coaching business, whatever that is, we're moving along with it. And we start moving into a new place where we haven't been before, right? Some people call it a glass ceiling, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. We get to this point where we've never been before. And in fact, I've got the definition sitting up on my board, so I never forget it. I wrote this down out of what I created from it. It's a certain level of growth and happiness reached. Essentially, your limit to where you haven't been before. When that happens, we subconsciously search to prove that limit correct. So what's interesting about it is we start moving, we start here's one of the ones that I've done for myself. When I first got into coaching, I said yes to everybody. I didn't care who it was. Everybody was my client. You want to be my client? I was like Oprah. I was throwing out coaching packages everywhere. And then all of a sudden I realized that I was too busy to serve anybody. I was so full. I couldn't even think straight, let alone coach. Couldn't even get my head out of my own self. It was nuts. And then once I did that, I moved into another area where I became so full of non-money producing activities that my schedule is now full in a different way. Once I got a handle on that, then I started finding other things. I mean, the renovation of my office happened. We find these things, right? And, I have, and some of it that shows up for people like yourself and I that love people, apparently, is that when they ask us for help, we don't consider ourselves or the repercussions on ourselves. We just say yes. We're not even thinking about it. So that's another way that happens, right? So when I write something down in my book, in my planner, I'm creating my word with myself as though I'm creating my word with God. Because I can break it with myself all day long, and nobody will know but Steve. But when I put my word with him, I'm like, I got this, God. I'm going to need some help holding my word with you if you don't mind. So when we start looking at these different areas of integrity, integrity is the foundation that we should all be sitting on. And integrity starts with God, because integrity starts with truth. And there's only one place we can find truth. It's the author of truth. And that's in the gospel, God. And that's all of our integrity. So it's very interesting that came up, Katina, because and I wasn't sure where that conversation was going to go with you. One of the neat things about where we're sitting is, you know what, you guys good? We're going to move into question number 4, because I think we're in a great place for it. You guys cool with that? Awesome.
Thank you.
You and I are gonna hang out. So what would happen if you were as intentional as you are in the other areas as the place you just told me?
Oh my goodness. I would be so much further along in my business. God dropped this in my spirit about 11 years ago. And I just have always focused in on everyone else's care and their whatever need it may be. And so I'm usually the one just deplenished. So joining CCC has done wonders for my life. I definitely can't wait to give my testimonial for the next class that's coming in. And for those who have fallen by the wayside, like Coach Cindy said, don't miss out on your ministry appointments and your one-on-ones, because they have literally saved my life. And I'm so grateful. So I know that if I knew then, well, I won't say if I knew then, if I was intentional and practiced the self-care and the being obedient to God when he speaks, and not have to wait until you have to go around the mountain a few times unnecessarily because you're closer than you think, I would be further. So, but him and his grace towards me, allowing me to connect with CCC through Facebook, coming through a feed, it was just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah. I'm going to go back. When I said to you, if you were as intentional in the area that you told me as you are with everything else, you were lit up. I don't remember your exact words, but I think it was something like, oh my gosh.
Right, yeah.
So if you were to be intentional in that area, what would be the first thing you think you would need to do?
Set aside the time to do what needs to be done.
How would you do that?
Getting first this little guy on a better schedule. Process right now is I'm going through divorce and going through, so it's like getting on a new schedule of life. And I decided I wouldn't make any excuse for Mondays, so that's why now he's a part of Mondays, because it was supposed to be Monday nights with dad, and then his thing became more important. And I said, well, that's okay. He'll just have to stick it out with me. So when I'm not present, it's, you can't see me, it's because I'm trying to still keep him on schedule. And so I may take this upstairs and give him his shower and do, because now I'm learning to be more intentional concerning my areas.
Right on. What do you do for a living?
I am a property manager.
Thought it was something methodical. So here's what's neat. I heard in different orders. So what's that young man's first name? If I don't get him on.
Nigel.
Nigel. I like it. So it sounds to me that in order for you to get your schedule, Nigel would have to get his schedule first.
Well, I think it's a joint effort. He's 4. So mom has to first be consistent to teach him to be consistent.
Right on.
And not back down and give in and all this whirlwind of the 4-year-old world that I don't seem to have a lot of energy for, I feel at my age. So, you know, the easier way is to give in. My daughter would have never been able, 8:30, good night. But this little guy seems to, like, you know, stay up later. He says he needs a popsicle. It gives him more energy, even though they're sugar-free.
Got it. Oh, kids, well, sneakers make you run faster too, right?
Right.
So let's go back to the scheduling thing.
Okay.
If you were able to get a scheduled routine together, how much of a shift would that allow for you to create?
Oh, that would allow a great shift.
How long do you think it would take for you to put a schedule together? Like a day, a couple days, a week?
No, just a day or so.
Cool. Would it be worth it?
Definitely.
Awesome. So here's something neat. This morning, as I'm having a conversation with God, he said, when you get home from dropping the kids off at camp, don't do anything until you plan your day. I was like, okay. I forgot. I got home. I floundered for an hour. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. And then I sat here and I was like, oh, I'll answer some emails from the weekend. And then I remembered, he asked me to put my day together. And when I put my day together, everything lined up. So if you took tomorrow off, would the next 7 days be directly impacted by that one day?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Are you willing to do that?
I can't. I just started this job.
How about when you get home?
Yes.
Cool. There we go. Awesome. Let's start there and see what happens.
Okay. I'm going to put it on my calendar.
Thank you, Katina.
Thank you.
All right. So can I go back to the group for a moment?
Of course.
Thank you. So here's what's cool. Katina has the mindset of a full scheduled person or someone that's busy. Because she's doing stuff, right? She was getting a new job. She has a 4-year-old in the house. She's getting her life together. She's getting his life together. And for a lot of people, that's a lot of stuff to figure out. It's the same exact thought process when you're working with somebody that's a high performer at work. We get filled with stuff. And then we get so busy on the routine that a little shift happens in the routine and we don't realize a shift happened. And then all of a sudden we're thrown off schedule. So what's cool is when you're having this conversation with somebody, it doesn't, and I honestly, I use this with my high performers. When I ask the question, well, what if you were intentional in that one area, like you were in all the other areas? What would show up in your life? This is meant to be one-on-one with somebody. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes, all these 4 questions. And you can turn someone's life upside down in such a powerful way by simply showing them where they're falling down in places they had no idea. Because we all have one place. And you just take a look at it. Don't matter. My one place that I didn't know is when I thought I was being intentional with my 11, I say my hour at that time, 10 and 12-year-old, 2 boys. I'm like, I'm always hanging out with them. I don't know what the problem is, but I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't intentionally hanging out with them. So the hours that we're hanging out may have been 45 minutes of actual conversation. So now we hang out for 45 minutes and it's incredibly intentional. Like right before our call, I taught my oldest how to cook scrambled eggs and American cheese and cook some chicken nuggets and and we just shot the stuff around camp today. That's all, man. That's what these questions are designed for. If you notice how nonchalant the questions were, I want them to be that way. So who had something pop up for them? Oh my word, not one? Come on, don't be bashful. Hi, Joseph, thank you.
I always got something to say, man. The thing that came up for me is just, I'm right there with Katina about the whole scheduling thing. Ever since we moved and just everything got pushed back an hour from what I was used to, and my schedule was set for like 8 months for everything to be pushed back. It just, I don't know, it threw me for a wonk. Tomorrow will be the beginning of week 3. So I'm trying to allow myself some grace there, just because that's kind of a big shift, if you ask me. But my sleeping schedule is pretty horrible. It's not consistent at all. That's kind of what I need to be intentional about, probably. I'm not being very intentional about changing it, but still acknowledge that I need to. I think it's because it's working.
Is it?
If that makes sense. Yes, but it could be working better. Like if it was consistent, it would be better. But I've always learned to adapt to the non-consistent. So like I still get things done. Like I still wake up even though I'm extremely tired, but like if my sleeping schedule was better, I wouldn't be so tired in the morning. Just different things like that. Like it would function better, not just function. But that came out to me because it's definitely on my calendar. Go to bed at this time. I don't. But I got a 3-year-old as well, and so I know that she's kind of just straddling along with us. So that came up for me though, is just the consistency, especially with the little one in the house.
I get that. So if you don't mind me asking, when do you think it's going to be the appropriate time to make the shift? How far do you want to get before you actually absolutely have to?
Well, we were making the shift because mom got a job.
Sweet.
And then mom got fired. And then
remember that
she got another job. Well, she was essentially going to get another job, but it ended up being a scam. And they just basically stole her information. And so that was this was last week. So we've definitely discussed it and we're making plans for it. We've had those 2 big disruptions that are pretty big in the schedule, right? A full-time job is a big shift in the schedule. So we're just trying to adapt to everything for sure.
Sure. I get that. There's a statement that was made, and I heard this the first time was in 2013. This is how hard it rocked me. And the statement is that we're living the life that we're willing to put up with. harsh, but it's,
Makes sense.
yeah, it's what I needed to hear at the time.
A lot of things definitely went through my head at the moment of, I guess I'm willing to put up with that one, and that one of just
Yeah.
different things. So yeah, that was definitely a punch in the stomach,
Hang out with that.
but it was
man.
good. It was cool.
I
Yeah,
care about you,
I'm good
Joseph.
with it.
I care about you, brother. That's why I
I'm
said
good
it.
with it, man.
Cool. Awesome. I would be with that. And I know you weren't, there was somebody who put ouch, Joy. It's those types of things that when we're sitting back and, you know, it's really easy. And I'm talking to everybody again on this one too, is it's really easy to look at everybody else and say, man, you really should get some more sleep. So I'm gonna go have my third cup of coffee. I know it's 11, but I got stuff to do. And one of the big powerful parts of this intention is that when we're sitting back and we're coaching people, we want to coach from a place of integrity. I coached a group of people back in 2019 to become coaches, and I lost one of them as my friend. And it hurt a little bit, but then I realized what was behind it. I said, it was a 7-month program and we were month 5, and she was the only one that didn't have a client. And I didn't, no, I meant it. It came out exactly the way it was supposed to come out. I said, when we're coaching our clients, we can only take them as far as what we believe for ourselves. And if we're not living the life of the person that we're coaching them into, we have a hard time taking them there. And she took that very personally, like I was literally fighting with her. She got very upset with me and then left the program. And we talk now, but for a long time we didn't talk because she thought I was saying that she was, I don't know, less than, or I don't remember the exact words. But we can only take people as far as we think it's possible for us. This is why it's important. Why I have one. I'm hiring another coach this week, so that would make 3. One's heavy mindset. One is a confidant, and one is my business coach. And I do that on purpose because I need people to tell me. My coach is amazing at telling me how wrong I am all the time. And he doesn't make me wrong. He catches me making myself wrong. That's where, when you brought up grace, Joseph, when I looked down at my desk, I went, where am I now having grace with myself again? Because I believe that when somebody says the word grace, it's specifically spoken to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be with it, man. You know, you're a good dude and you've got, man, one heck of a head on your shoulders. Good Lord. The conversations we have on Wednesday mornings are just awesome. And, there are people that are hanging out, waiting for that powerful self, my powerful you to show up. There was something somebody said on here, and I don't remember who it was, so somebody help me. We were talking about, Katina, I knew it was a question. There was something about being busy and full and serving people. Your schedule is full because you're serving people, right? A full schedule, you were saying that you're too tired, right? I believe that God gives us so much bandwidth, right? Bringing it up to 2021. We have enough bandwidth for as much as we can get. And I believe in order for us to show up powerfully, and I don't remember who said self-care. Maybe that was Joy. I don't remember. If we are not taking care of ourselves the way God wants us to take care of ourselves, we cannot show up as powerfully as he wants us to show up. And if we're not showing up for ourselves, how can we show up for somebody else? And I'm harsh on myself on this. At 10:30, 10 o'clock, all the good shows come on, just so you guys know. 10 o'clock, man, we're done. We're finished. Danielle and I are both like, hey, it's usually a race. Who says it first? You ready to go for bed? It's which one's going to say it first is usually it. And it's usually the one that's sleeping says it second. So in order for us to show up powerfully for the people, that's showing up as your authentic, godly self. We have to be rested and we have to be present and we have to be with our people in order for us to really hear, because coaching is, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I can give you 20 questions and you can coach for the rest of your life and be pretty good. And you'll eventually add on to it. You'll create new questions and all that kind of stuff. But we don't need to, like in here, we go kind of deep, not really deep, but we do. Oh, Lorraine and I did once. We went way back, right? That was awesome. Man, you were so great then. And what was interesting was we don't really need to. I like to, because I like getting to the root of things, the stuff that sticks and lasts for as long as it will. But you don't need to. Coaching is hearing what's not said and seeing what's not seen. It's the underlying story of what's happening. That's why immediately when I asked Lorraine earlier, what did that remind you of? And she was like, well, my past, and I could take you right to the moment. Well, she already knew where I was going with it, because there was something happening underneath it. That's coaching the person and not the problem. It's easy to say with somebody with a time management issue, well, let's open up your calendar and take a look at it. That's coaching the issue. A couple of Monday trainings ago, who was on here where I was talking to about time management? Was it somebody on this call, or was that a different? It was the same Monday class. It was just, I think it was somebody different in here. I don't want to call her out. And I don't think it was Gloria. Anyways, it was somebody on here, and turned out that the reason her schedule was so full is that she got anxious when it wasn't full. And when we finally got the root of it, and I wasn't like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't need to be a psychiatrist. I don't need to understand human psychology. I mean, it's not hard to understand. However, I don't need to know to ask you questions. Asking you, what does that remind you of, allows you to go there, not me. I don't need to go there. And then when you bring it up, I'm going to know by looking at your face, you're like, oh man. Yeah, totally, man. That was back when I was in 5th grade. I remember that conversation with my teacher. She was rough, that kind of stuff. And what was interesting was it came down to an expectation that was set by her mom before she passed away, that when you're busy, you're successful. And she was killing herself, working, I don't know, way too many hours, like 15, 16, 17 hours a day. It was way too much for any human being to do. And when we got to it, she's like, oh my gosh. And when I asked her, do you guys remember when I asked her, I said, if your mom was still alive today, do you think she'd be proud of you? And she said, I think I would like to know that she would say yes. And when we got down to the root of it, she's like, yeah, she would say yes. Of course, she'd be proud of me. And the moment she felt the pride, and it was relying on something that was created that wasn't even there. We create these expectations that we think we need to meet. Society tells the entrepreneur that you need to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, society's insane. You ever hear of the 4-hour work week? I'm working towards that. Because I was in the other one. I was the other maniac, 12, 14 hours a day. You don't need to do that. You show up powerfully and intentionally in the moments that you're showing up. Guilt is of the devil. I'm just going to say that. All right, cool. So you guys are letting me go on a tangent. You're just kind of waving and nodding. So I need some feedback here. Somebody heard something somewhere. So somebody give me something. I'm going to mute myself. By the way, the biggest breakthroughs happen when people share. So you can be courageous for somebody else. Yep. That was super peer pressure.
I think one of the things that I picked up in just the general conversation, hello, mate. I think one of the things I picked up just generally is the difference between the types of tasks sometimes that we have to take on and how that impacts how present we can be with them. So the difference between, for example, the kind of like, putting out the fires type of task where you have to get stuff done, something comes up with a client or just in your life and it kind of throws everything else out, versus the things you can be really intentional about, like strategically planning in your business, getting things on track, like going through, step by step to do the actions. And it's sort of that reminded me a bit, Steve, of that kind of the Covey time management quadrants and how when we have, sometimes some of us can live in this kind of, putting out fire mentality, depending on what our work is, what type of personality we are, and then we kind of run into other tasks where we can hide in, which are easy, like answering email and all the rest of it, yet we're never really intentional. And that's definitely, the reason I say that is because that's definitely me. I sort of tend to, coming from marketing, be that sort of person that's always running on getting things done just in time and adrenaline and that kind of stuff. And so when you do other stuff, sometimes you hide in it, and that means sometimes, a lot of the times, you're not very intentional because you're just reacting the whole time. Anyway, just thought I'd share.
No, man. Anybody identify with the reaction, being reactionary all the time? Cool. So Lawrence was fast. He muted himself so quick. It's anytime that we say that you or your, it's usually I. It's always I.
I think most people.
Thank you. Real quick, Linda. Thank you for that, Lawrence. That was awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Linda.
I was just going to piggyback on that. Is many people, we get caught up into just managing to the hazards that are coming in our way and batting them away, and that's when you lose your intentionality. Instead of, and I don't know if anybody follows Jordan Peterson, but he talks about you have to have an aim, otherwise you're aimless. And I love that saying, because you have to continue with that aim and make even short micro steps towards that aim every day. Otherwise you're just wandering aimless. Like, that's so true, because otherwise we are just battling off those life hazards that come our way, and we're not really making any progress because we can get in a whole nother cycle. And I think that is the enemy, really getting involved in the distraction and really getting us away from what that true purpose is.
So I mute myself sometimes doubly. So one of the things that I'm hearing is that allowing the chaos of the day to infiltrate your time. Is that what I'm hearing from both of you guys? Cool. So my wife, if you don't know, she runs her dad's concrete and masonry company. And if you're in construction, you know that construction is putting out fires. That's basically all you do all day long. You just you keep the place from bleeding. That's kind of what it is. And so one of the things that when I was out there, I say they hired me. I went out there. I went in their office and I coached their staff. And one of the things that we worked on was because we as in us here, we're in a people business. We serve people. So when you get a text and it's Jill, I'm gonna just say there's no Jills on here, right? Okay, good. So we'll just say the girl's name is Jill or John or whomever it is. They say, I'm in the middle of a breakdown right now. Our initial want is to go, ooh, and help this person. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be in the middle of writing a chapter in your book. You could be emailing, you could be talking to your dad or your mom, you could be talking to anybody, doing something that is intentional and focused. And then you pick up your phone and you start automatically doing it. There's something that if you're willing to do it, and we'll just see I'll see how you feel about this, is that this guy here, when I'm working, unless it's my father or my brother who are out of town, I don't respond. And it's nothing personal to my clients. I love my clients. I mean, We cry together. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. I just love I love the people I work with. I just love them because we just build relationships. That's just what happens. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing because what it does is it does a lot of things. It does two big ones though. One, it's going to throw you off course. A 5-minute response on a text is 20 minutes of leaving, texting, and coming back, getting refocused. If you do that 3 times in a day, you lost an hour. That's if nobody responds. That's if you just go, you're doing great, love you. Read chapter 4, whatever your response is. And then you put your phone down and nobody responds. But if they respond back, now you're losing a lot more time. And you think, well, that seems awfully selfish. Why aren't you serving your clients? It has nothing to do with me serving my clients. In fact, by doing that, I'm serving more. Because the second thing we're doing is this. When you have 1 or 2 clients and they call you or text you and you jump right on and you respond, it's cool. But when y'all are dealing with 20, 25 clients, or you have like 2 or 3 groups, you've got 30, 40, 50 clients, and they're texting you, messaging you, and you stop everything at that very moment and you respond back to them, you're allowing them to do that constantly. It sounds going to sound terrible, but we're training them that we'll drop everything we're doing to jump on whatever we need to do. So then what was vitally important on the very first couple of texts might not be ever last. So what's recommended in the world of high performance is to set times to respond. Because what if you're sick? What if you're visiting your family member or friend in the hospital? What if you're not near your phone? What if you're in a place where you don't have signal and they're calling you and texting you? Now they're mad at you because you've already set the tone that you'd be able to do it right away. Now it's your fault. You're the bad guy. People say, well, can't you just respond quickly with a text? Yeah, sometimes I do. Hey, I have clients back to back all day long. Is it, can I text you tonight or tomorrow morning? And I've never had anybody say, oh yeah, tonight you have to do tonight. It's always, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Tomorrow morning's fine. Not one time did somebody say I needed to speak to you immediately. And if they do, then you have to make a decision. Well, I'm with a client right now, or I'm talking to my dad, or I'm going to the bathroom. But it's setting the tone for your people. Because here's the last thing that it does. I love every person I've ever worked with. I still have a relationship with, even as far back as 2014. When we are responding like this, we become their Google coach. Look, I gotta be honest with you. I have clients that I've worked with for a couple of years. I'd like to work with my core group of clients right now forever. I think it'd be amazing. However, it's not what coaching is. We're not therapists. We don't do 5 and 10 year stints. We do 3, 6, 12-month packages. And if they want to build from there, cool. Then we build on top of that. And that's what we do as coaches. We coach people so they are not, we don't equip them, but they are equipped to live a powerfully successful life once we stop, that we're not relied upon. And I think a lot of times us coaches, just because, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I want my people to like me. So I used to bend over backwards for everybody. And all I did was hurt me. And I couldn't show up for everybody else that I was working with. Does that make sense? Cool. I couldn't tell if I was getting a hairy eye or it was intention. I couldn't tell what was happening there, right, Patrick? What's up, Gregory? I haven't talked to you in ages. You good? Awesome. Best mustache in town. Cool. So we've got about 20 minutes left. What's everybody dealing with? And while I put these questions that I asked earlier in the chat. So the last question on here, I don't know if I worded it right, so you may have to reword that if it doesn't make sense to you. What would happen if you were as intentional as you are in the other areas as you are where you're not? Yeah, that's about as close as I'm going to get for you guys. That, by the way, is usually my first or second call, depending on who I'm talking to. If the person's really on key and on ball, I might not. So who'd like to get a client? Who does not have a client yet? Cool. Who would like one? All right. So what, let's see. Who would you like to work with? Let's start there. Really putting myself out on.
I'll say, well, I was trying to give other people a chance, but I would like to work with mothers who are trying to build a relationship with their daughters, or just want to just get a closer bond with them.
Hang on a second. So I'm going to give you a little trick here. Sometimes when I'm writing things down, I did write it down. You can't read my handwriting. It's atrocious. Sometimes when I'm writing it down, it does two things. One, it embeds the question in my mind, and two, it gives me time to think. So when you guys are sitting here, it's okay to take notes and write things down. Sometimes I just sit here with my pen in my hand. I'm like, I have no idea how to respond to that. So I'm just going to hang out for a second. All right. So back to where we were. Moms that are looking to build a better relationship with their daughters, or create more of a bond, or create a bond in general.
Bond in general, if they're having a difficult time, runaway, drugs, all those things.
Are we looking at a certain age?
12 to 17.
So the moms would probably be 30s or 40s, maybe?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. I'm a late bloomer. That's why I say 30s to 40s.
You know, yeah, but you know, this day and age, you never know.
Right on, I got it. So where do you know anybody like that?
Yes.
May I ask who?
A friend of mine.
Perfect.
Several friends of mine. Some relatives of mine. Some people I just know.
So you have a good core group that you can collect data from without them really understanding, because you just know them. You don't have to ask them questions.
Right.
Excellent.
But then some of them wouldn't mind me asking questions. I did have that written down because last week Ron talked about using monkey. What is it? Monkey chip. What is it?
MailChimp.
MailChimp.
I was like, that sounds like a new form of kung. That's a form of kung fu.
Yes, MailChimp. Yeah, I was thinking of Kung Fu Panda.
You definitely have a 4-year-old. All right. By the way, that teenagers still watch Kung Fu Panda. Okay,
Yes.
back where we were. Where do you feel now with this core group of women? There's a certain thought process that goes behind it. How have you started to equip yourself, or maybe you're already equipped to have that conversation?
Oh, I'm equipped to have the conversation in more ways than one, more ways than I would like to be. I am, what's the word I want? I am the child of a teenage mother. So I've lived and walked it personally also on that end. And my adopted daughter is a handful.
Got it. So one of the coolest things, there's a few different things we could do here, Katina. In fact, you could probably start something over the next 7 to 14 days. There's a couple of ways you can handle this. I always, anytime I want to walk into a new group with this group here, I'd probably have to put some thought into my questions. But with dealing with teens, with my martial arts background, that was kind of my thing. I had all the kids, and then I started coaching at the boys' school all last year, and I got to know kids. It's a fun journey, and we all over again. And it's in anything where people are just disconnected, it's always communication issue. So there's a miscommunication somewhere. The kids are mad at their mom or dad because they can't figure it out, can't figure out the kids. So there's nothing. Except for us parents, we lead with ego, whether we like it or not. We know everything because we're the parents and we're supposed to. But one of the most powerful things I know with our boys is I've been able to say, I have no idea, buddy. I don't even know what you're asking me right now. We're going to have to go on Google, but let me think about it first. So that's, pulling ourselves off the pedestal is very powerful. And however, with that group of young ladies that you're looking to talk to, I would probably come up with 6 to 9 different questions you can start asking them around that level of communication and where they feel like where did things start shifting? Because it wasn't always like that. That would probably be my very first question.
Okay.
And I don't know where it would go from there. A lot of times I go into a coaching call with one question. Sometimes it's what would make this call powerful for you. And we just start talking.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, Cindy, one of my intentional habits that I am working on is journaling and spending time with God just concerning my business, for him to download his direction. And so it's funny that you said, like, who wants to make money right now? Because I had in my little, thoughts decided that, I just shouldn't do anything until everything is complete. So I have become my own stumbling block because, as you said, just wanting that perfection shown. I know Ron always tells us it's not all about how it looks, blah, 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 but that is a big thing for me, just in my personal. People at work are like, so you change your jewelry every day? And I'm like, oh, you don't? I didn't, So that's just the way I think. I sometimes I find myself putting more attention in one area and it needs to shift to another area. And so instead of me shifting towards the perfection and all of the nice, beautiful things that they're doing in the background for me, I could still be making money.
All right.
And I probably wouldn't have had to take this job.
Well, we're going to get you there. I'm going to share with you something now. And everybody check this out. Thank you for where you just went with me. One of the coolest things is we get to know our clients incredibly well. Katina, as you were talking to me, I apologize. I started thinking about how could you coach these young ladies? So I was present, not as present as I could be. So I hope you can accept my apologies because I was thinking about solutions for you. I did hear you though. So one of the things is this. I'm going to ask the group. When Katina said, I want to help moms help or repair or create or rekindle their relationship with their daughters and create a bond or a new bond, how many started looking to help with that area in your mind? Just, I'm not going to ask you to come out. I'm just kind of curious. Just a couple of us? Nobody else wanted to help? I'm just kidding. Just so, all right. So about 4 or 5 of us. Hey, great. So here's the thing. In the beginning of this call, I talked about coaching the person, not the problem. Right. So one of the things that's very powerful, Katina, and this actually comes, I'm certified with the Ziegler Foundation. And this is almost all of their coaching is this, what I'm going to tell you. There's a book, and I think Lawrence just picked it up, as I think he was bragging about it a little bit to me. It's this book here. It's ridiculously simplistic, right? And there's 12 or 13 chapters, I think. Yep, 13 chapters. So what I do with this is I create, the first one is well, you can create a 12-week program. Here's what's powerful about this book and any other book you want to use. One of my other favorite ones, as Lawrence knows, is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, what I'm going to tell you about the 2 is 2 different types of coaching. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I do over 7 to 8 months because there's 7 habits. We choose what they want to create over that 7 to 8 months, whatever they want their life to look like. We spend that whole entire first session on that. And then we get into the book. Chapter 1 is month 1, week 1. They read it, what they get from it, how are they going to implement that habit over the next 30 days? And then we meet next week. And we go back into what their goals are. So now we're reestablishing goals. So we go week to week goals, once a month chapter. Does that make sense? With this, the chapters are really short. So you can do 1 week at a time, 1 week, 1 chapter. And that's how I coach this book. So here's my thought process. This whole book is about communication. And there's a whole chapter on family. And it constantly talks about family. This whole book is about family, for crying out loud. But it's incredible. This curriculum here is actually coached into Tom and a few Tom Ziegler is the author. Tom and a few of the other coaches he works with actually coaches into the corporate world with these. And when I coach in office, this is the first book I pull out. I buy however many people are in the office and I send everybody a book. And then we start chapter 1. At the end of every chapter, there's a handful of questions. And if you write them down for yourself, you ask the questions at the end of during the coaching session with them. So here's my idea for you. Since you haven't done it before, why not get a handful of those books and see who wants to participate in a beta coaching program? And when it works, you'll have tons of testimonies. Good. You have a bunch of testimonies, and you can use the testimonies to promote yourself to other people. Ooh. What do you think?
I think that would be good.
Cool. This whole thing is around habits. Change your life by changing one habit, shifting one habit at a time. That's all. Oh my gosh, Katina, I randomly opened to chapter 10, and the very first thing it says on here, and maybe this is for you, choose to use your time and energy wisely. I promise you with everything that I am, it's right there.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve.
Oh my word, that's funny.
So I would do 13 weeks of this.
Yeah, you could probably combine the last 2 chapters into 1 week because they're really short. Okay. It's basically the last chapter is second. The last chapter is the perfect start.
Mhm.
And it's
Okay.
combining all the other chapters together.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna
So,
order the books and,
Are we connected on Facebook? If we're not, you better connect with me. I want to know what happens.
okay, I
I don't
will.
care if there's 2 people in the group. Doesn't really matter because when the other
Okay.
ones get wind,
Right,
well, then they got to pay for it.
right, exactly. I still may charge them, but,
Yeah, right on. Well, I mean, you can charge them for the book.
because some of these people I've already given them just free coaching enough in their lives that
Time to
they
get some
should,
structure.
they should want to pay me, but
Right on, man.
But
This-
I'll sew.
In groups, they only do up to 5 to 10 people at $700 a person.
Wow,
If you do one-on-one, they recommend $3,000
wow.
for 12 weeks. Now, for me, I got to tell you, it's a little undercutting, but it's it's a powerful way to coach, and you know what you're coaching around every time you come in, and all it does is start the conversation.
Okay,
Very first chapter is success, significance, and legacy, and it has you define all 3, so you get to run with that for the rest of the time together. Everything's around those 3 constantly. That's where the integrity comes into.
okay,
Integrity comes from truth. Truth comes from the author of the truth, and the author of the truth is God. That is right out of this book.
right.
Cool. Can't
Thank
wait.
you.
Can't wait.
How often do you run those? Once a week?
How often do I meet with people?
And yeah.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Yes, how often do you meet with them then?
Oh, once a week. It's going to be 90 minutes. You guys have to make sure you have 90 minutes, not an hour. If it's one person, it's an hour, but if you have more, it's going to be an hour and a half. Would that work for anyone? Yeah, totally. So check it out. Somebody tell me one of the most insightful books you've ever read besides the Bible. Because you can coach around the Bible. That's not my point though.
Oh, what's it called?
Come on, somebody's read a book before.
Boundaries?
Boundaries. Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Give me a brief synopsis of what that is.
Cloud and Townsend. The first time I read it, I threw it across the room. I've never thrown a book across the room ever since. But that one was one I just thought that there's no way this is the truth. So it really helped me learn boundaries. And yeah, I haven't read it for a while, but they have a little workbook that you can actually purchase a separate book. And then it goes through all the questions. Lots of people, like churches and different groups, will do it as a study together.
All right. So what would you say was probably this, if you can remember, I don't know how long ago you read it, but would you say your top 2 or 3 insights from it were?
A lot of the things we were talking about tonight, just, being intentional about setting aside time for you, that it was okay to say no. For me, it was like the book was a lot of, because if we don't value ourselves or we don't feel we have self-worth, then everybody else's time takes your time. So that's the main insight I got from that book.
All right, Karen. So check this out. If you want, oh, you shifted. There you are. So you moved on my, you're like a puzzle mover. So if you wanted to coach around that book, you take those insights. So what I heard was you're talking to people that are full, that don't have boundaries, and they're constantly saying yes, and they're busy. That's what it sounded like, the person you were describing. So you take our insights, and our insight is usually a solution to a challenge that we see, whether it's with us or other people. So you take the insight and you say, well, what challenge did that insight either create a solution to, or however you want to word it? And that's how you market that coaching program. So instead of charging people, $5,000 for 3 months or 4 months of coaching, you can put a bunch of people in a group. And usually when I do coaching around a book like Choose to Win, I just buy the book. It's like $20. I don't really care. You get it off Amazon and have it to their house the next day, unless you're Lawrence and it takes a month. But you take that book and you purchase the book for the people. And then what you do is you go through the book yourself, and each chapter you write down a half a dozen questions. Oh, where'd she go? I lose her? She's been in and out with her internet connection. All right, well, I'll talk to the rest of you guys. So once you do that, you take about a half a dozen questions for each chapter, and then you write those questions down. So each time you guys meet, you have questions to ask. So it's a very powerful thing to do. I took somebody recently through who was actually in an abusive relationship. Both of them, husband and wife, they were pretty violent with each other. And I took him through 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And every time I met with him, he was doing a chapter a week. He was really cooking. And all I did was say, what were the biggest insights that you picked up from this? And then he would tell me, and I'd write them all down. I'd put them inside of my Trello board. And I'd say, all right, Mal, is amazing. I'm like, so how did those insights impact your life? And he would tell me, I'm like, that's incredible. We go through that. And I would say, how are you implementing and keeping those insights to the forefront of your mind as you're continuing to move through the rest of your life with your wife? I'm going to tell you that book, great book and all, but the way it was used, they get along. In the last 6 months I've been coaching them, they've only had 3 arguments.
Wow.
It's not me. It's what he heard. Because how many times have you read a book and went, man, that was incredible. Put it down, then you forgot what even the book was about. You got to go back and you got to read the back again or get a reminder. But when you go through and you're forcing that person to see and be and feel and live out those insights, man, it is life altering. So you can all do that. You know, I've sold coaching. I said, you know what, during this coaching time together, what we're going to do is we're going to go through this book. Karen, did you catch the end of that before you got dropped off? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. You're muted.
Sorry, my internet is not good, so I apologize.
No problem. What I was saying was you take the insights that you had and you write down about a half a dozen questions around the insights per chapter. So each chapter that you're coaching on that book, you ask those questions because you're coming up with questions that may trigger something in their mind. They go, whoa, I never even considered that. And that's when you can ask them, well, how are you going to implement that new insight you just had in your life? And how does that impact you?
That's good.
People are like, well, that's an easy way to coach. Kind of. If you only do what I just said, it's going to be about 10 minutes. You have to elaborate and go through it and really start that deep conversation with your client to get that hour because, you know, it's a good time, man. Cool. So Katina is going to start a group coaching program, which I'm crazy excited about. I swear, Katina, you better find me on Facebook so I can keep up with you.
So Steve, we do this to our avatar. We do the from a book focus to our avatar.
Yeah, I mean, you can take anything off of my desk, any one of these books, and you can coach anybody through them.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Sweet. All right, that's Lorraine too. Woot woot. Awesome, Lawrence. Hey, I'll see you my Wednesday. You're Thursday. Have a good day, brother. Appreciate you, man.
You know, Steve,
Yes,
what's so weird, or not weird, maybe that's not the right word. I've done this for about 10 years and never thought. I've done book studies and had groups of people for years and never thought to make it a coaching. I just taught every Saturday, 11 o'clock. It was over 100 women that came every Saturday from different denominations, and I never thought to market it to. I was just doing a Bible study, a book study.
Yeah.
I mean, my mouth is wide open right now. Like I was like, "Are you serious?" I totally missed that.
That's outstanding. Cool. So you can do it?
I'm gonna do it. Oh yeah, I'm doing it.
Awesome.
I think you lit a fire, Steve. I'm glad I spoke out.
I am too. See,
I am
the person
too.
that speaks, right? The breakthroughs happen in the sharing, man. So all right, so who's going to take on over the next, I probably won't see it for a month. Who's going to take on the challenge of creating a client over the next 30 days? Oh, Rusty, these are good books. Awesome. The Prosperous Coach, with Rich, I coach around that with my coaching clients. I don't do that with my regular clients because they would be like, did you double my price on purpose because of this book? No, man, there's a philosophy behind this. Going down the road. But Switch on Your Brain, actually, it's sitting. Did I put it back on my shelf? I met Carolyn Leaf a few weeks ago. I'm out in Texas. Man, she is smart. She is so smart. It's ridiculous. Having a conversation with her is like, it's like talking to an encyclopedia. It's incredible. Oh yeah, me too, man. She's actually, if you've heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, she's the biblical Joe. That's how I got introduced to the quantum field from him. It's a very interesting thought. And then when I heard Caroline, I was like, whoa, God shaped. Yeah, man, these are great. Cool. Awesome. Listen, I don't want to keep you guys all night. I know we're supposed to end at 9 o'clock. Any insights or anything pop up for y'all tonight? Any value that popped out? I'm sorry.
Yes,
What value came up?
The books, the teaching, coaching the books.
Yeah, you
To
gave me
start,
permission. You gave me permission to do that. That's huge. Because I was wondering that, because I have so many good books that I'm like, I could borrow this material, but I didn't really think about doing it as here's the book, let's read it, let's go through it together. So I was wondering about the legitimacy of it. So
Absolutely. Here's how we can set it up. Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you, Linda. Yes, give me 1 second, Cindy. I just want to set the book up since we're kind of talking about it before anybody else gets off here. So when I'm having a coaching conversation with somebody, anytime I have an enrollment conversation is basically where you're selling coaching. Well, an enrollment conversation is you're creating an experience with somebody. You coach your tail off for an hour to 2 hours with somebody. Rusty's read Rich's book, so he gets this, right? And that changed my life. That one tiny little thing. You go into the call and I just say, in fact, anybody that's been on here that's coached with me one-on-one, it's what would make this call extraordinary for you? What would you like to create today? What's on your mind? Where would you like to be when we're done? And what's the one thing, if you knew, that would transform your life? So like all these different questions. That's at minute mark 210, if anybody wanted to catch those questions. And so I would just ask that question. That's how we start. Because I have no idea where we're going to go. And then I'm listening intently and I'm like, man, if this call here, they never spoke to me again, this call needs to be enough where they would never need to speak to me again. We need to create something so powerful in that call, because in their mind, I want them to go, good Lord, that this is what I'm getting for free. What would I get if I had to pay for it? And how many zeros are on this thing? And because usually when I tell them my number, they're like, oh, wow. Whew. All right. I thought it was gonna be a lot more than that. I'm like, nah, man, I'm reasonable. I don't want to hurt nobody. So you coach your tail off for that 60 to 90 minutes. And then when you're finished, all right, so I'll take you through a couple of questions. These are easy closing questions. So my very first question, when I get to the point where I feel like they're about there, I'll say, do you feel complete with your call? Yep, great. So what do you feel the benefits of us working together would be? And I let them respond to me because I want them to tell me, because I don't want to tell them that. Which questions, Karen?
I thought you were talking about a book with 1 minute or something.
Oh, no, I'm just running with questions. I'm just going right now. So once I ask that question, and I'll say, well, would you like to know what that would look like? And they always go, well, yeah, I'd like to. And then I basically will say it's going to be we're going to be working together for roughly 3 months. It's going to be about 12 sessions. And I'm loose with my numbers because, I mean, if you ever worked with me, I usually give 2 or 3 calls away anyways, because I kind of just do that. And then I say, because it might be longer. I don't think it's going to be shorter because we can't squeeze any more time together. So it's going to be longer. So my new program is 6 months long. I say it's going to be roughly 6 months. I said, sometimes we'll bridge over into 7 or 8, depending on how great you're doing. And I said, one of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through one of the Ziglar books. And I said, you're going to love it. Don't worry about it. I'm going to send it to you. And in fact, when you get it, I don't want you to read it until you talk to me. They go, oh, okay, great. Sounds great. I said, so that's where we're going to start. They don't know anything about it. It doesn't really matter because I know what we're going to do. What they know is the experience that we just created together. And they want more of that experience because if they got it in 2 hours, what's 6 months look like together, or 3 months, or whatever you decide to put together? I don't, some people, I have a lot of Ziglar coaches that are clients of mine right now that are like, why lead? Well, you can lead with the book. It's perfectly fine. I don't lead with the book because I don't lead with any book. I love this book. I've used this book, I don't know, 40, 50 times already. The reason I don't lead with the book is because if you lead with the book, now you're cornered to the book. If you lead with your coaching, you bring the book into it. Because you're branding you, you're not branding the book. It's always going to be branding you. Does that make sense, Linda? Cool. Good. Anybody have any questions around that?
Just one quick one.
Sure.
We don't need permission to use the book to do something like that?
Nope, not unless it says don't use this for coaching. I can tell you that you can use this book, but you can't use the curriculum that I have. I pay for this privilege.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks.
You're welcome. Cindy?
No, I just wanted to comment, Steve. Thank you for that.
All
This is
right.
amazing. Everybody, you all have a tool.
Yeah.
You all have a tool now. Everybody has a tool. Steve just dropped a huge tool in your toolbox. Remember what we said at the beginning? You're at the 7-month mark. Okay, so now it's time to get your feet wet. It doesn't matter if your branding's not done, and I'm right? It doesn't matter right now.
Nope.
Okay, we're working on your branding. Andy and I are working on your branding. Nicole's part of creative. Nicole's working, okay, with those that are ready. It doesn't matter. Grab a book, get this book that Steve's talking about, or get with Holy Spirit and say, I know who my avatar is, right? What book is going to fit? Okay. Terry, autoimmunity, Mimi, healing, right? Adrian. Okay. Linda, you all know who you are. Okay. Pappy, Lorraine, you all know, Katina, all of you. You all know. This is an amazing tool that he dropped tonight. So let's do something with it. Okay. We should be encouraging other in the lives. Let's do Win Wednesdays. Let's try this thing. Work with people that you know in your sphere of influence. Okay. You don't have to go out and do some big this is organic. This can be very, very, very organic. So yes. So thank you, Steve. This was really amazing tonight. Everybody, can we give Steve a round of applause for tonight? Really amazing, as always.
I love you guys, man.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And one more thing, for anybody that wasn't on in the beginning of the call, I'm just reminding you, I'm coming back around. Pastor Joseph had to go. He's inviting everybody again to come to Watchman. He's given the times. If anybody's interested, it's for anybody to come in for prayer. He's changing it up. He wants people to just come in, share your concerns, soak in the Lord. If you're interested, Voxer him directly and he'll give you the times if you're not sure of how that rolls. And I'm reminding everybody again, make sure you are taking advantage of your 2 one-on-one calls a month and your 1 ministry call. You need that consistency to keep you in forward momentum. If you come up with a block, it's not the time to shut down. Okay, hear my heart on this. It's not the time to shut down. It's a time to dig deeper and get with your one-on-one coach and get ministry. Okay, thank you, Steve. Really, really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for that, Cindy. Just do what you guys know what to do, man. Leave with this guy right here. That's all. Oh, awesome. We went way further than I thought, so I'm kind of just hanging out now. I'm like sitting in the corner with my Diet Coke. I'm like, all right, guys. So
I just want to say thank you, Coach Steve, and 2 thumbs up. You get a 10 for tonight. So when, I just want to say how much I appreciate you. You made Cindy's job easier for tomorrow when we have our one-on-one. So now we can focus in on everything you dropped tonight. So awesome. Thank you. And thank you everyone for the encouraging words and all the wonderful input.
Thank you, Tina. Hi, Nigel. He's like, how's that guy know my name?
Appreciate Steve.
Thanks, Gregory. Appreciate you guys. Let's jump out of here. Cindy, would you like to pray us out? Thank you very much.
Okay, Father, we are so grateful for your heart. Holy Spirit, we are so grateful that you're here with us. We thank you for the unction that you dropped through Steve tonight, that he is truly a humble conduit, Holy Spirit, in which you can flow. And Lord, we ask you to bless him and his business. May you enlarge the 10 pegs of his territory in the name of Jesus. May you bless him, his wife, his family in Jesus' name, and prosper him and give him the desires of his heart. And we're so grateful that he's here to head up our coaching and bring these ahas to us. And Lord, I pray for each and every one in CCC, in our client coaching, in our inner circle. And I pray is that we're at a pivotal standpoint in this program, that everybody, Holy Spirit, that they would invite you to radically wreck them. Radical wrecking is what we want right now. In the name of Jesus Christ, we want radical wrecking in every area right now, wherever it's needed right now. All the things the questions that Steve asked tonight, I pray that everybody would hunker down with Holy Spirit and they would ask you, what does that mean for me? In what areas am I intentional? In what areas do I need improvement to be intentional? And how can I bring it all together to be intentional for your kingdom work and to be an ambassador in the harvest field that you have said to me is mine before I was knitted in my mother's womb. So we give you praise, honor, and glory, and we thank you for this group. We thank you for your hand upon it. And we want to go out there and do your kingdom work and be good stewards of what you're asking us to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna high five that. That was awesome. Okay, man, I appreciate you guys. I love y'all. I think what you're doing here is changing and transforming people's lives in Jesus' name. And man, how much more blessed could I be to be here with y'all? So thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me your time tonight. It was awesome.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
everybody.
Thank y'all. Have a beautiful night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.